in the car tire. Dunno, thought it should be something tragic he had pretty much expected by anyone who knew this lunatic. I heard Zach actually faked his own death and is now partying with the other dead poets like Jim Morrison drowned in a bathtub. Seems like a strange thing to happen to me, or, like really escaped to Africa as a reincarnation of Arthur Rimbaud. Quit poetry at the tender age of 20 and is now trafficking sex slaves on the Kenyan black market. I heard that when Poe died, he had quit drinking for like a year, and then at his brother's wedding, he made a toast to the blushing bride and took one little sip. 4 hours later, stumbles out into the southern night and disappears. They find him 4 days later, 4 states away, lying in the gutter in somebody else's suit that doesn't fit right, with black birds sipping the last bits of Jim Beam from the shattered bottle cut open his palms. I wish it had been something really cool, or just some cool quote he left behind before he fell tragically down the attic steps, but the fall didn't kill him, only shattered his spine, and he couldn't move and starved to death. Something really fucked up like that. And a joyous procession follows as the blushing bride weeps. What a strange tirade. And if he did leave behind a quote, it should be something really inspiring. But knowing that asshole, it would just be something really morbid and all structured by the rules of the scientific order, like nature cannot be fooled. Richard Feynman. It all begins, ends at both. Early morning horny dementia, sprinkled with a certain desperate inner conversation, will keep our feelings in a state of ecstatic, trembling vibration. Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, etc., etc., etc. So Billy and Carl and I are in this bar. So William S. Burroughs and Carl Jung and I are sitting in the menagerie drinking cheap beer, and Bill's trying to kick the H again, and he's making up for it by the gallon, and he's a dozen sheets to the fucking wind. And Carl and I are trying to catch up, and Billy's like, there is no intensity of love or feeling that does not involve the risk of crippling hurt. It is a duty to take this risk, to love and feel without defense or reserve. Carl glances from William S. over to me, then turns a long stare into his amber bock. Finally, he's like, the nothing or fullness is called by us the pleroma. In it thinking and being cease, because the eternal is without qualities. Not even seeming to hear him, and completely unaware, it seems to me, of any synchronization between Carl's words and his own, Bill's like, desperation is the raw material of drastic change. Only those who can leave behind everything they have ever believed in can hope to escape. Carl shoots a quick glance at Bill, whose hiccups are a bit embarrassing, then stares into the distance, saying, in the pleroma there is nothing and everything. It is not profitable to think about the pleroma, for to do that would mean one's dissolution. Bill suddenly pulls out his revolver and slams it on the table between us, knocking the pitcher over to spill all over the damn table. I don't know how he sneaked the fucker in, but the damn thing smells 86 all over it, if not jail time, I know that much. Bill is glaring at the gun sullenly, as though remembering. A paranoid is someone who knows a little of what's going on. A psychotic is a guy who's just figured out what's going on. At this point, I figure that logic dictates I should get the hell out of there, but the strange, disconnected harmony of ideation between their words is building up my own crazy connections in my head, and this moment seems far too important somehow, so I'm like, do the events inspire the words or vice versa? Am I describing the visions of eternity I see or creating them? Can I reach out with my flaming sword, suckle on chaos, create havoc with burning pen and floating mind explosions? Do I create these words? Or does the poetry create me? I had to rip my eyes out as they were blocking my brain's light. And that's when Stephen Hawking rolls up and speaks to us with great reverence. He's like, I wish I had the soul of the poet. Carl Jung, putting on his coat and motioning for me to do the same with a quick yet pointed sidelong glance at Burroughs, finishes off the last of his beer in a long chug, then concurs with Steve. Only a poet truly understands. Then Burroughs belches terribly, sweating and saying he's fucking hot, but he looks like he's burning up. He rests his head on the table. I see him upchuck a little into his mouth and swallow it. He begins a little anecdotal parable through broken hiccups. Did I ever tell you all about the man who taught his asshole to talk? Everybody groans. This is the beginning of the short story book. Be ye not lost among precepts of order, Principia Discordia. In the beginning, I created the differentiations. There is serenity in chaos. Seek ye the eye of the hurricane, Principia Discordia. The differentiation that begins this book, Jackie. Climb into the cow with a friend or two, and follow the way it carries you, adrift like a lunatic lifeboat crew, over the waves and whatever you do, Principia Discordia. 1301. I'm bored. I think I'll check my pulse. It's time to leave the subway on my way to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts at a random stop, find my way to the 10 freeway, and hitchhike home to Riverside with someone random. I walk for quite some time through Los Angeles, in whatever direction strikes my fancy moment to moment. I listen to the Doors' The Soft Parade. I end up climbing onto a random rooftop, looking down into a playground, watching teachers as they play with children, helping them learn how to play basketball. Can you give me sanctuary? I must find a place to hide, a place for me to hide. Crosses of local churches and star-spangled banners rise over the city, the Hollywood sign in the background, reigning over them all. At Civic Center, there's a hotel for incredibly wealthy people. I am well dressed, and they allow me to enter. Men in business suits sit around sipping $7 mixed drinks, the breakfast of champions. I amble about the hotel, walk into a restroom. A newspaper rests on the counter, Market News. I chuck it into the corner, run from the hotel, find myself on a sloping hill overlooking an intersection. There, where everyone can see, is a giant billboard. Adidas. Kobe. Kobe Bryant's face next to the latest style basketball shoe he's endorsed. I turn around. Behind me in the park are 6 or 7 homeless. They eye me suspiciously in my sweater and new and clean khaki pants. Westlake MacArthur Park, I exit the subway again. Past 2 men in the cloth passing out pamphlets. Come and be saved, all of you wandering here. There's no salvation here. Come and be saved. Not all who wander are lost, I say to one of them as I pass. I reach MacArthur Park, full of homeless folks, all gathered around the dirty benches there by the lake, and I walk among them with my headphones and my brand new clothes. Standing attentively in his bronze uniform is a statue of General MacArthur, almost completely covered with tagging. Quotes from the soldier and the officer. This park was declared a national monument. And a monument it is, a monument to the order of things. Garbage fills the pond. Fowls swim amongst the garbage. Piss stains the concrete beside the lake. I stare down as I step in it. Pretty sick, huh, man? I turn back. An old man with ragged clothes and long gray hair dropping down from underneath a baseball cap that reads Niagara Falls. I don't know, I respond thoughtfully. It all depends. He smiles at me as though hiding a secret that he finds very amusing, a knowing smile that looks right through me. Right, he says emphatically, staring at me in an eerie way, as though to encourage my leap off this train of thought. And it all depends on, he prompts me to continue after a moment of holding my look, as though telling me not to bend my knees when I jump. On your own point of view, it all... I trail off for a second, look back down at the urine to collect my thoughts. I find the word, perspective. His eyes grin. You'll find her, kid. What? Hey, you got a cigarette? No, I just quit. He chuckles. Sure you did. How about some weed? I wish. All right, man, sorry to bug you. 4-step handshake. I continue walking. Hey! I pass 2 old black women. Hey! I look back. I'm going to call your mama. You should be in school. I'm in college. Yeah, all right. 4-step handshake. You shouldn't be walking in this park. You're going to get hurt. You shouldn't be here. Maybe you're right. I continue on my way. Out beside the street, I pass an elderly homeless man with no legs. It's a wonderful thing how the government always supports its veterans. I give him $2. He stares at me for a long moment, then begins to speak. But the traffic rushing past makes it almost impossible to hear him. He seems also to have a speech impediment. He keeps speaking for probably 5 minutes. and what he is saying is clearly very important to him, and I really don't have the heart to tell him that I cannot hear. The only things I can make out are, "You have brains, you're white. You use these things and don't you waste them. I ain't got nothing in this world to call my own. Use your brains." I give him another dollar before I leave, and I thank him. It's sad to me to think that most people won't ever listen to him, and even if they do try, the endless roar of the traffic will drown him out. As I walk away, he shouts after me fervently, "You remember what I said?" I almost reach the freeway entrance. I'm all prepared to hitchhike, and then, "Hey! Hey, guy with headphones!" I turn around. "Yeah, you!" I had thought I saw something happening with this girl sitting on the curb wearing black sweats and clutching a purple backpack. "You got a light?" "Yeah, somewhere in here." I search through my backpack, find a lighter. "What are you doing? That's a nice radio you got there." "I'm gonna hitchhike home. I'm not sure why." "I don't know what I'm doing here either." There's a brief silence. "I'm just trying to be a good kid. I talk to myself. I don't know why. I talk to myself, though." I don't bat an eye. "Do you have another cigarette?" I ask. "Sure." I light the cigarette she gives me. "You know what?" I tell her. "I just quit today." "That's good. Quitting smoking's good." "I'm quitting because I had a dream I'm dying of lung cancer." "Lung cancer? That sucks." "Yep." "I have a friend named April. I think I annoy them, though. I think I talk too much. I'm just a kid," she rambles. "I'm just a kid. I'm 24 and I'm just a kid. Just trying to figure it all out. I'm new in this world and they tell me I talk too much. I annoy people. Do I annoy you?" "No." "What are you doing today?" "Well, I was going to take the train to Riverside, but instead I've been walking around the city for no apparent reason." "You don't need an apparent reason. Faith in chaos?" "Sounds like fun forever. You're cool. I like you. I'm Jackie." "Jackie, you may be the reason I've been wandering around." "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that." I laugh hard at that. "Yep, shit just happens," she finishes. She has a sudden intensity to her. "You know what? Sometimes I feel like I can make sense of it all, and they tell me I'm crazy, but I feel like I shouldn't have these thoughts, and I think I have pent-up aggression. You know, you may have just said the thoughts of everyone in this town." This seems to please her. "Thank you." "How'd you like to be a chapter in a book?" "Ha! Okay, I'll be a chapter in a book, you be a chapter in a book." "Well, it's my book, you're going to be a chapter." "Really? Am I the main character?" "Yeah, maybe, sure." "Duh, I am. I have a friend named Mikey. He's in my head," she laughs hysterically. "Just kidding," she explains. "Are you in the middle of a nervous breakdown?" "Yep." "Why?" She lowers her head into her hands and cries hard. I put my hand on her shoulder. "'Cause I talk too much. I listen to myself in my head. I talk too much." "I see." She grins slyly as she peers up at me. "Do you think I'm an actor?" "Yes, I definitely do." She laughs as she's laughing as she sits back up. I am an actor. Did you ever do drugs?" "Yes." Me too." "What drugs?" "Crack." "Ah, crack sucks," I say. "Yep." "Why does crack suck so much?" "Because when you do it, you go like this." She slumps her head back, sticks out her tongue, and bugs out her eyes as an example. I chuckle. "You're my friend," she exclaims. "Are you my buddy?" "Of course." She hugs me. "What's your name?" "Zach Smith." Zach Smith. I want to know your age." 19. 19? I'm 24, but I'm still a kid. I talk to myself. "Can I ask you something? What is it that made you pour your heart out to me like this?" Cause I could see. You're my buddy." "I have lotion." She takes out a bottle of lotion from her bag. "See? I can wipe it in my hair like this." She wipes a bunch of it into her hair. I watch carefully. She takes out a stick of deodorant and wipes some under her arms, then much more of it onto her face. "I'm crazy," she explains. She looks at me with a sudden intensity again. "Do you think I'm ugly?" "No, I don't think you're ugly at all." I got mad. I called Andy a nigger. Am I racist?" "I don't think you're more racist than anyone else. It's ingrained in our culture. You lost your temper, I guess." "Thank you. You're really cute," she decides, and begins hugging me continuously. "Do you want to have sex?" No, that's okay." "You don't like me?" I like you. I don't want to fuck you. You like to talk to girls? You like to talk to me? Yes. You don't think I'm ugly? No. Who told you you're ugly? She isn't. Nobody. But I worry about it. I worry I talk to myself too much. I don't know why I talk to myself. You're my friend. My buddy. Guess what, buddy? Guess what? What's that? I have... She roots through her backpack, pulls out her money. I have $6. That means we can buy weed. We can smoke it. And when we smoke it, we bond. We bond. It's tempting. Tempting, I tell her, but I gotta go back to Riverside. She pulls out her book, The Green Mile by Stephen King. She reads a passage from it aloud. Do you see? It all makes sense, you see? I see the connections. Yes, weirdly enough, I do. She hugs me. She doesn't let go. Finally, I stand up to leave. Good luck. Good luck. The subway starts with a jerk, begins to penetrate the darkness of the tunnel before I'm ready, and I sort of stumble backwards into one of the seats. Soon I am underground. Jim's voice echoes through my pineal gland. You cannot petition the Lord with prayer. I open up my spiral notebook and stare at the blank page, pen in hand. From somewhere deep inside me emerge tears, at first gentle, then flowing in torrents before I even know it. The tears wet the page as I write. I am chaos. I am the substance from which your artists and scientists build rhythms. I am the spirit with which your children and clowns laugh in happy anarchy. I am chaos. I am alive, and I tell you that you are free. Principia Discordia. Okay.
Need some water?
Yes, please.
Okay.
And yeah. The second differentiation in the book, accordion. It says little, does less, means nothing. It is my firm belief that it is a mistake to hold firm beliefs. Principia Discordia. So I'm randomly in the basement of the coffee shop with all the paintings and sculptures floating around. I seem to be talking to that chick Annie Bishop about her literary magazine, and she seems very interested in speaking to me, but I'm having trouble focusing. Jesus, can't she tell I'm drugged out of it? I feel like everyone can always tell, but whatever, they should come join me. No, she's telling me I can write anything I want for her literary magazine. Jesus of Nazareth, does she know what she's signing up for? She's looking at me expectantly as though she just asked me a question. Yeah, okay. I can tell now that this is a total non sequitur response to whatever question it was. She says something else I miss completely, then tries to hand me her number, but I drop it. We both reach down in unison to pick it up, and our heads collide. I stumble sideways, knocking a painting onto the floor. Everyone stares at me. Annie Bishop rubs her aching noggin for a moment, and then, as though receiving a sudden luminous inspiration, begins flailing around in circles, knocking paintings and sculptures onto the floor, all over the room, quoting Kafka. I pay no attention. Instead, I run up out of the basement to find this insane guy because I want one of those special beaties he offered. I scan the crowd and find him, and ask him for one, and he consents. We sit for a moment on the crowded patio, both enjoying our smokes. This guy is nuts. What's his name? John? He begins jabbering about how the whole world's going to cease existing once he stops believing in it entirely. I consider smashing him in the face with a brick. Instead, I just give him a good hard whack on the back of the head and yell, "No fucking way, man!" After all, that shit's going to work for anyone. It's going to be me. I have to pee really bad, but the bathrooms are out of order, so I run out back into the alley looking for a place to piss in a toilet stead. I sit down in the filthy parking lot to finish my smoke next to an old, ugly little lawn gnome who's playing the accordion. Hello, Zach. Hello, gnome. I bob back and forth for a moment. I spit. I watch as civilizations rise and fall in my loogie. I'm still bobbing backward and forward as I sing a song to the gnome that's been playing in my head for days. Driving that train, high on cocaine. Casey Jones, you better watch your speed. Trouble ahead, you know, trouble behind. And you know that notion just crossed my mind. I piss on a gnome. Hung Mung slapped his buttocks, hopped about, and shook his head, saying, I do not know, I do not know. And so be it, story. Okay, this is called Hip and Dysfunctional. People carry television on their shoulders, bank vaults full of old bones, the Chinese railroad, a tomb. It can beats mental slavery, corruption, not manufacturing anything. A series of psychedelic swirls will keep those who dwell in subconscious midnight immediately available at your request, dancing. Freedom calls to you. Answer. I've crossed a line. I've journeyed into the back of my brain. I've opened a door to the darkness in the back room where the real decisions are made and no accident. I hallucinate my dreams. I know strange brain chemistry makes me brilliant. Perhaps the door is too wide open like Kubrick's nightmare. I love the holes in my brain that make me right, and by right I've got endless gift and boundless enterprise. I love it back here in the madness. I'm going deeper. Is this goodbye or hello? I just cannot stop thinking that I live under a microscope. Every time I take a piss, I think that future generations are pretty much watching me. How many times did Zachary Aaron Smith shake his dick? What's the average number of times? I've always lived under a microscope. Gifts can be just as destructive as weaknesses. And weakness is an intrinsic part of the gifted. So everyone is watching me. I should prove that I don't care by destroying the world, starting with myself. I'm curled up on the floor writing this with a dozen muses standing over me, telling me to prove myself. I needed a designated driver to get to the DMV. You can only shake your dick twice, Zach, or else you're playing with it. I can't bear a child, so I have to create something. Try to write a while. The novel pushed from the forefront to the back of my brain using music, alcohol, and sluggish disreality. The vipers float the jackals to freedom using vast, unheard, and underhanded sublimation. I cannot allow them to steal whatever thunder I thought I had left. Subliminal test of faith on a subconscious level. We are fighting a quiet war, psychic warfare. I must negotiate all the soldiers I can through such shamanic trance games. War unopened and soothing. War simple and soft. War, the destructive soul of unnatural selection. War, the result of Columbus's green, green death. I croon poetry of Columbus's groin. I think Zach has a beautiful mind. I think he can do anything he wants to in this life. Remember that? Anything. Sure, great wordsmith poetry is all fun and games, but will it buy the whiskey? I sink back in the water, considering leech wife bloodletting and jagged metal and red river swirls in the tub. Leave one last mess for my roommate to clean up. Oh, my prophet, so affected by the world. Sadness rings a bell. Never sell out, Angela said. Never sell out. It's awful and strange and mystical and beautiful and made of solid gold, how things just merge together in a whole new typeface. I just can't say anything without it becoming queerly true. Queer truth. There's something of the divine in all of us. And remember, kids, a shaman is just a drug addict with a fancy-sounding voice. Eating, drinking, and breathing poetry. Mostly drinking. I have to piss very badly right now, so I'll make this brief. The urine is going to exit through my penis, which will someday fertilize plants. Okay. Should I apologize for the vulgar ones beforehand? Because they all are. This is called Goblin. 1,000 gritted teeth mark my territory. 1,000 freaks fill my mind's attic. There's a fiend in myself, a goblin gnashing green and rotted meat. His red and white marked mask he keeps in the bathtub with him he cannot touch. I cannot see any further past his strange eyeballs. He dances sometimes in the tub when I see him, ancient cadences of crucifixion and toadstool sky. As I watch my goblin, I wonder from where he came, from where he learned his rhythmic movements. In the silence of his toothy grin, with damp, heavy breathing and crossed fingers, he assures me like a nude woman that there is no longer time left to think. My goblin's teeth are yellow, his eyes are red, the color of his skin makes me sick. I saw him today, dancing on the dead green lawn, and I realized as he attempted to frighten me with his yellow grin that he was only wearing a mask. I gestured for him to approach me. Slowly, reluctantly, he did. Fear and sadness behind his mask, crossed fingers like a fork in a lone highway. It's okay, I told him. It's time to see you truly. 1,000 freaks left behind you. 1,000 directions are passing by the avenues of your mind. As I told him this, a tear came to his eye, and like a beaten dog, he fell to me. I gently removed his demonic mask and found there a saintly, spritish face. His blue eyes had seemed red only in the light of his own hell. For what is a goblin, I ask you, but a fairy with a broken heart? I tried to help him, tried to tell him that all things beautiful must pass, but that makes them no less vital, and he wept. But for all my efforts to sustain his flooding heart with friendship, he fixed his mask back on and ran off. This is called Shaman's Love. Do the events inspire the words, or vice versa? Am I describing the visions of eternity I see, or creating them? Can I reach out with my flaming sword, suckle on chaos, create havoc with burning pen and floating mind explosions? Do I create these words, or does the poetry create me? What if I'm just delusional? I'm delusional, aren't I? When I feel the blooming madness that has gripped me my whole life, I wonder if all people have ESP but me. I wonder if I was molested by non-lethal technology, if I'm the Antichrist, if echoes of silence keep well stocked the voice of God, if I am his conduit. When I think that all my loved ones are really chess pieces, I wonder about the alien war around me. Is it solid or pure Gothic fantasy? When visions of Illuminati crumbling come scalding me while I'm trying to sleep, I wonder, do they have retractable claws or none at all? Have I even woken up yet? Am I dreaming? Everyone in the room is talking and laughing about me. Can I breathe underwater? Did Thompson and Huxley and Burroughs truly speak to me? I told Hunter to fuck off, so he shot himself. I was warm in the past when they taught me to write. Midnight ceremonies abounded. Then I think they're going to torture me to death. Torture those of loving free will and lush green visitations, sirens rising on the tip of a waning moon, my own jealousy of warm pink flesh, gathering tides speaking riddles to my insipid and poetic vision. Called on by the gods to move mountains and transplant great redwoods with transcendental words, trapped yet in the base confines of this earthly form. The luminescence which flows from the utter darkness of the words, silence and water against the shores of psychic imagery, enthralling yet gentle. I had to rip my eyes out as they were blocking my brain's light. I am the one for whom love is a doorway. I am a wandering fool. I am somewhere between Alpha and Omega. I am served first in the nightclubs in hell. I am the 3 threes, the number 9, the 4th horseman. I am the spellbringer, the comet caller, a disaster in the making. I am the distant seer. I am the bishop, the soothsayer, the Nazi fucker. I am disease and a sad soldier for peace. I am the flood builder. I am the great destroyer of Atlantis. I am every man on the cross, the joke maker, the future teller, the listless chanter. I am the exterminating angel's apprentice, the frightening cause of collective nightmare. I am indigo and crystal. I am the one who penciled in the end, the god of ecstatic release, the flyer, the crucifix, the son of a million suns, the child of pornography's wounds. I am both day and night, the yin and yang of a solar system's creeping and cellular manifestations. I am a poet for remembrance, a poet for change, a poet for new heights of imagination, the people's poet. The revolution thrives on new and fantastic flights of the human spirit, love's own wonderland, both sleeping and forever awake. Throughout the tribal times before, we shamans were the caretakers of rags and wisdom. We smoked by bonfires, storytelling, founding the feast of the gods in the changing seasons' mist. How noble an art had we! With babbling insight we interpreted those signs which brought prophecy to the pure of heart. Seemingly without rhymes and somehow without reason, we doled out the soul's insight. We showered tribes